Welcome back, bow hunters. This is Ron with Stay Sharp Guide. Today we're going to be talking about diamond plate selection, usage, care, and cleaning. What I'm going to cover will apply to our diamond plates, our diamond jewel sticks, our diamond field file, anything with diamonds on it that we sell on our web store. I get a lot of questions, so I thought I'd put this video together to discuss some of the most frequently asked questions. Let's start with selection. On our web store, we offer a 5-plate diamond pack, and that's the best value per plate. That's the lowest price per plate. But we also offer a 4-pack. You get to select the grits. A 3-pack where you get to select the grits. And what I see over and over again is guys making the same mistake. They buy the higher end grits. The foundation for success in sharpening happens at the lower grits. Everybody's buying everything except 240. 240 is where your success starts. It's where you get your first burr. You can try getting a burr at a higher grit. It's just going to take you longer. You're going to wear out your plates. You're going to get frustrated. If you would have just started at a low grit, 240, got your first burr, every other burr after that is a snap. Guys who buy 3 plates and get 8, 12, and 2000 are trying to start to get their first burr at 800 grit. I don't wish that on anybody. Start with the lower grits. So if you're not buying the 5-pack, bias toward the lower side and make sure you get a 240 or at least a 400. It's going to make your life so much easier. Next is usage. When you have your broadhead blade in the guide, or whether you're sharpening a knife or a broadhead, or using this with our C kit, or using the folding field file with a knife, a lot of people think this is like sharpening a lawnmower blade on a 6-inch bench grinder. If I push really hard, I'll throw more sparks. I must be removing more metal. That's not how this works. Pushing hard wrecks your diamond plates or the silicone carbide paper that we sell. Pushing down hard will strip the diamonds from the plates faster. You won't get done any quicker. You won't get a burr any faster. You think that you will. So avoid that temptation. Pushing down hard puts a flex in the blade. Your burr actually folds over rather than standing up proud, and it's easy to detect with a piece of paper. When you push down hard, you flap that burr over, much harder to detect. A light pressure also gives you a much keener edge when you get to the last grits, 1200, 2000. So your hand is only meant to steer. You shouldn't be pushing down. Fast way to wreck your plates. All right, also, use your plates dry. No oil, no water mixed with soap, no any sort of a spray lubricant. Your plates are meant to be used dry. If you use them wet, you're going to get contamination in the rollers of the guide, and we'll talk about cross-contamination, but don't use anything on the plates at all. Use them dry. Also, don't get buffing compound on your plates. This is a plate that's got some buffing compound on it. It's hard to see, but it really makes your plates hard to clean later on. Also, don't use your plates to remove coatings or paint on single bevels. VPA, Grizzly, and some other makers of single bevels coat their heads, sharpen the bevel side, and then the back side has paint on it or a coating. You can't sharpen paint, you can't detect the burr on paint. So I advise people in the videos to hang the broadhead off the edge and make sure they're breaking the burr off, which also means getting rid of the paint. Remove that paint first before you even start sharpening a single bevel by using silicone carbide paper. You can even use sandpaper meant for wood. You're only removing the coating. Don't impact and plug up and wreck your diamond plates by removing the coating. Any sandpaper will do for that. And this applies to single bevel broadheads that have a coating on them. Let's see, I've got a list here to make sure I don't forget anything. Also, Explore every direction of your plate. These plates are rather large. I got guys saying, well, I wore out the center of the plate. That's because they only rolled down the middle. They kept it between the ditches. When you roll, yeah, roll down the middle. Roll diagonal this way. Roll diagonal this way. Turn the plate around. When I'm sharpening, I am constantly spinning the plate. Explore the plate in this direction. In this direction. Don't just drive down the center. While I'm sharpening, I will go diagonal. I will go the short way. I will go cross diagonal. I will go down the center. I will go the short way. Use every bit of the plate that you paid for. Don't just run down the center and wear out the center of your plate. All right, now let's talk about care. When you're sharpening, and I mention this in my videos, if you go from 400 grit, you have to clean before going to 800. If you're at 800, you have to clean before you go to 1200. You don't want to cross-contaminate a higher grit, a finer grit plate with the diamond particles from a lower plate. So in my videos, I'll show after I get done with a certain grit, I will clean off the guide, I will clean off the blade, blow it off. You can use a toothbrush. If your wife's not home, you can use hers. Clean everything off. You do not want to carry coarse diamond particulate from a coarse plate to a fine plate. What happens is you'll put big scratches in here, in the finer plates, and you'll end up with a mess. So clean everything off between grit switches. When you get done, store these in a dry place. Don't store them in high humidity. You're going to have, if you're using carbon steel blades, you're going to have iron and steel impacted in the fine crevices. You store this someplace that's humid, moist, that trapped iron and steel is going to rust. The diamonds can't rust, the plate can't rust. What will rust is any trapped steel in the plate. It won't happen with stainless steel, but it'll happen with carbon steel. You'll pull it out and your plate will be orange. That's because you stored it someplace humid. When you do store them, to prevent cross-contamination, put a plate down, put a fresh paper towel down, put the next plate down, piece of paper towel. Keep them separated. Again, you don't want to get the coarse grits contaminating the finer grit plates. Next, let's talk about cleaning. That's probably the most common question I get. How do you clean these plates? There's a lot of different ways. After you've done a sharpening session with 400 grit, tap it off, blow it off, compressed air in a can for electronics or an actual air compressor that you would have out in your shop, blow it off. That's really fantastic. A brush, again, an old toothbrush works great. Again, tap it off. A vacuum cleaner. Shop vacs are great. Take that big hose, put it right on the plate, run it back and forth. You'll suck up a lot of that debris that gets trapped in here. Now what happens when your plates get impacted with all sorts of trapped particulate, it smooths the plate off. Instead of the diamonds being the highest thing, everything's at the same level with the trapped particulate that's in the plate. If you do get some sort of a plastic on it from the guide, or if you make the mistake of putting a single bevel with paint on it, acetone. Put acetone on a rag, acetone on a toothbrush, dip it in acetone, and try to dissolve that. Never use water to clean your plates. Nothing that you are doing is water soluble. Nothing that you're doing will dissolve with water. Don't think you can wash away anything that's on this plate. The last and probably the best way to clean these plates at the very end, if they're really impacted, is either freezer tape or blue painter's tape. I'm going to get a little bit closer in here. I'll inset another little video showing you the effects of cleaning plates with tape. What's key is when you put the tape on, you need to really press it in. And again, I'll show this in a more detailed close-up video. The back of the toothbrush, the back of a ballpoint pen, your fingernail. You want to make sure that you're really getting that tape adhesive in deep contact. And when I show you the inset video, you're going to see how much darker, and maybe you can even see it here, how much darker it is where I've pressed it down. That tape is now embedded into the deepest crevices. Don't rip it off like a Band-Aid. You risk pulling off some diamond particulate. You want to fold the tape right back over itself. Not at 90 degrees. Don't rip it off. Fold it right back over itself and slowly peel. And you'll get a little bit more resistance where you have really pressed it in. And it'll be hard to see here, but that tape is much darker where I've pulled everything out, and you can see a much cleaner spot on the diamonds. So that's really it when it comes to the care, usage, and cleaning of diamond plates. So right now I'm going to put the little inset video of me cleaning some plates with tape to show you the effects. All right, what I'm going to show here is the tape demonstration. This is a very used plate, 400 grit. I've sharpened a lot of heads with this plate. Cleaned it with a paper towel, cleaned it with a brush, vacuumed it off. As you can see, it's still quite dirty as compared to a new plate. So here's what I was talking about with the tape. Blue painter's tape, freezer tape, it won't matter. Don't use duct tape. It's got too much gummy adhesive that you'll leave on the plate. But as you can see, when I'm pushing down with the back of the toothbrush, with my fingernail, with the back of a pen, it really pushes the tape and the adhesive deep into the pores of the plate. Now I'm not going to do the whole plate, but I do want to show you what the end result is. Again, I talked about peeling the paint or the tape back upon itself. Don't go at 90 degrees. All right, so let's look at what sort of results we did. Now already you can see what's sticking to the tape. So that's the result. That's what you've pulled out of the plate. This is after vacuuming, after brushing, after blowing. It won't make an old plate new again, right? It doesn't bring back diamond edges, but what it does is it pulls everything out that was trapped in the plate that brought the material that you were sharpening up to the same level as the diamonds. Let's try another one. Here's I believe this is 240 grit. That's also another one that's very well used. The same thing. Blue painter's tape, masking tape. I suppose you could also use clear mailing tape, the wide rolls of the clear tape for taping up boxes. That doesn't have a residue that would be left behind. Avoid things like electrical tape. Again, don't use Gorilla Tape. Don't use duct tape. That'll leave stuff behind. Again, you can see how much darker it is where I push down. Let's peel it back. And again, you can see what's coming up. And that plate got a lot cleaner in those areas. So that's going to pull out a ton of stuff for you. So use the tape trick. You'll see pretty quickly how dirty your plates are. And this will help restore them and make them cut better again. This doesn't work with sandpaper or silicone carbide paper. It's not worth the effort. Those things are pretty cheap, but diamond plates, they've got some cost to them, so you want to make them last as long as possible. So this is a great way of cleaning. Here's a plate where I have buffing compound on it. You can see it all along the edge. Let's see how the tape trick works on buffing compound. Buffing compound is a wax with an abrasive, fine abrasive suspended in it. You can't wash away the wax with anything, so don't bother with any sort of a solvent. Even the acetone doesn't do a good job. Let's see how tape does in getting rid of buffing compound. Well, you can already see what's on the tape. So there we've pulled all the buffing compound off, and now it's on the tape. So take that advice for cleaning. You'll see pretty quickly how it helps extend the life of your plates. But if you have any questions, give us a call. All of our contact information is at staysharpguide.com. Again, thanks for watching.